Hi there. I am Miriam Chernick, and I'm the author of the middle grade book, The Zuzu Secret, for kids ages 10 and up. This is the story of two siblings, Josie, who's 12, and has the dream of becoming a veterinarian. She also has a secret. It's also the story of Abe, her brother, who's 15 and was born with a rare disease called Prader-Willi syndrome. He also has a dream, and that is to see his favorite team, the Orioles, play at Camden Yards. And he has a secret too. So together, this brother and sister tell their stories, and eventually things get a little dicey and their dreams collide. And I won't tell you the end, but trust me, it's very exciting. So this is where I wrote most of the story. This is my home office with my books and my laptop, and I get to look out at beautiful greenery here in Montgomery County, Maryland. And then next to me here is my pet bearded dragon, Zuki, who I'll be introducing to you later. Okay, there were two inspirations for this story, one for each of the characters, because it's really two stories. So the first is Josie. During the COVID lockdown, my neighbor sent out an email, and it was a panicked email, and it was to the whole neighborhood. And she said, "Oh my God, I found this thing on the street and I don't know what to do with it, and can someone please come and get it? Otherwise, I'm going to call animal control to take it away." And it was a bearded dragon. Clearly, somebody had dropped or dumped, as we call it, this animal on the street and just left it for maybe they thought it was going to be able to live, but those animals are not able to live out in the wild after they've been a pet. So they had dumped it in the street in front of her house, and she was unfamiliar with this animal, so I could just hear her panic in the email. Anyway, I went running over there, being the animal lover that I am, and I got the bearded dragon, and there was no cage for it. So I thought, gee, I would love to really adopt this animal myself, but I knew I couldn't because I had a home full of people, my kids, and my brother was staying with me, and also pets, and I just didn't think that I could give the attention that this animal needed. So I decided to rehome this bearded dragon, who we named Zuzu because my neighbor lives on Zulima Court. It was just a nickname for Zulima. And I went to Petco and I went to buy a big aquarium to put this Zuzu bearded dragon in. And the woman there asked me what I was doing, why I was buying this equipment for a bearded dragon. And I said, I found him on the street and I'm looking for someone to adopt him. And she said, oh, I'll take him. So that was a good happy ending for Zuzu. That was the first inspiration. The second, for Abe, the character of Abe is based on my brother, who was born with Prader-Willi syndrome, a rare disease. And during COVID, it was another COVID inspiration, he came to live with me and my family, my brother. His name is Daniel. And he came to live with us because the authorities designated disabled people as high risk for catching COVID. This is before there were vaccinations. And so we were worried that my brother, who was living in his apartment with caregivers who were working in various places, that he might be high risk for catching COVID. And so we brought him to live with us, me and my family, my kids and all our pets. And so I was spending basically 24/7, really not being a sibling, being more of a parent to my brother, and listening to his very unique speech pattern. And I just started to write down our conversations, which some of which were very funny and also poignant. And we were talking about our childhood and growing up and reminiscing. And so I started to write that down sort of like as a journal. And that was the inspiration for the Abe character in my book. The hardest part of the story was actually doing the baseball research. I know a lot about baseball because my son played and we hosted college players in our house in the summers for a bunch of years in a row. However, I did not know the ins and outs about Manny Machado, who plays a role in this story, or the Baltimore Orioles during that week in 2018 when the story takes place. So I had to do a lot of research to make sure that all the facts that I was stating were accurate. That was actually really hard for me. As for the easiest part, I would say writing dialogue. This is more of a craft issue. Once I know the topic of a conversation, I can get it down pretty quickly, much more so than writing a description or writing interior thoughts or other things that are part of, the writing canon, I would say. Actually, my favorite scene in the book has a spoiler in it, so I can't tell you in detail, but I can give you a hint, and that scene has a kitty cat in it. That's all I'll say for now. But the scene that I can tell you about that doesn't have a spoiler, that is my other favorite scene, is one where Josie and Abe, both the brother and the sister who are in this story, are trying to catch crickets in their basement. And it's kind of a silly scene. It's funny, and I really enjoyed writing that. I do not have any plans right now for a sequel. However, people are starting to read the book and they're sending me comments, and many comments relate specifically to a secondary character named Bixby. A lot of people find him intriguing and have questions about him. I don't go into his life in detail, and so I would say that Bixby is very likely to show up in some way in another one of my works. Well, as I mentioned, I conducted research on baseball, which took a lot of time and effort, but it was fun. I learned a lot too. But I also had to do a lot of research on bearded dragons because I did not have a lot of experience with bearded dragons. So I had to look online. I spoke to veterinarians. I spoke to people who were pet owners for bearded dragons. I decided I really wanted one because in the course of doing the research, I just sort of fell in love with this animal and I thought, I want one of my own. And so that's when I adopted my pet, Zuki, who is named for red Japanese azuki beans. So I'm going to show you Zuki now, assuming he is cooperative. I will be right back. So this is Zuki. He is currently shedding. You'll see this white around his face, and that is skin that will fall off shortly. And he has it on this side too, but he is red on his back. I'm going to put him on my shoulders. Sometimes he likes to sit here. He likes to hide behind my hair. He's very quiet and docile, as are all, oh sweetie, and as are all bearded dragons. And let me just share a couple of other facts for you. I want to tell you that they are originally from Australia, and they are used to very dry, arid, sandy environments. Bearded dragons are diurnal, like we humans are, meaning that they sleep at night and they are awake in the daytime. They are cold-blooded, unlike us humans, meaning they need external heat or sun to keep them warm, whereas our bodies know how to regulate heat and cold. We call them the golden retriever of the reptile world. They are extremely popular pets, docile, sweet, don't make noise, don't bite. They're extremely friendly and very easy to be around. So that's Zuki, and I'm sure he was happy to meet you, and off he goes. I think that middle graders will really appreciate the beauty of this cover. The scales on the bearded dragon are raised, and that's beautiful. There's a cricket on the cover. Also on the back, there's a little bearded dragon on the barcode. And on the inside of the cover, absolutely fantastic, is a poster. This one has a baseball to go with that theme, and the bearded dragon, Zuzu again, and some quotes. And then the inside boards also have Zuzu there with a cricket and beautiful marking of Zuzu's scales. And also just the creativity. Look at this. Look at how these colors are opposite. Blue on the inside and orange on the outside. And with the tagline, is it okay to keep a secret? Because sometimes secrets are good and sometimes secrets can be dangerous and not so good. And finally, on the inside, I'll tell you that the chapters, the alternating chapters, are in different fonts. Abe's font here is different from Josie's font. And also you'll know it's an Abe chapter, not just because his name is here, but because there's a baseball on his chapters, and on Josie's chapters, there's a tiny little bearded dragon. So all of these extremely clever artistic parts of the design are really make the book special, and I think middle grade readers will love that about this particular story. Thank you so much for joining today.